everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Journey Hotline, a series of interviews conducted by the Gavel Club of University of Colombo, where you will be able to meet your favorite public speaking personalities and learn from their amazing life experiences. I am Teshani Baligamage, and I am honored and thrilled to be the one introducing our guest speaker today. She is an icon of the media and entertainment industry, a fierce and an independent woman whose talent knows no limits. She is a veteran news anchor and a TV presenter with more than 15 years of experience up her sleeve. Her charismatic persona has made her a star entertainer and a host respected by everyone in the industry. Apart from this, she also has a background in marketing as a marketing manager and a manager in corporate development at the Chartered Institute of IT. Well, I'm sure that all of you are on your toes waiting for me to introduce you to exceptionally talented, iconic individual who's joining with us today. So without further ado, let me introduce you to one and only Sharon Mascarenhas. A very good morning, Sharon. How are you doing?
Very good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the organizers of Gavel Club of the University of Colombo. Thank you for initiating public speaking topics, very inviting personalities like us, because we also need to engage with different audiences. So this is a wonderful opportunity to be a part. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And we are really honored to have you on board today as well. So let's look forward to a very interesting and a fun-filled interview with you today. So definitely to start the things off, so let's talk about how you first became a part of the media industry. What was it like to face a camera for the first time in your life, if you can recall on that?
Most of the schools in Colombo and some of the schools in the outskirts also do have a media club. Unfortunately, I was not a part of any speech or public speaking clubs that was in school, and it was a stroke of luck, which a situation that came up in school where my principal wanted me to attend for the Children's Day program at Sri Lanka Rukmani Corporation. And I was going for a circuit meet in athletics, and there was a bit of a switch, and hence that was my first time at SLRC for an event, which was International Children's Day. And I was given the opportunity by the director then, that is Anoma Wataladenia, to have that chance of learning what's it like to be a newsreader. How do you do a coverage? How do you build a story? How do you kind of bring out the story to your audience? That was taught to us in one day, and that's where my passion towards it kind of started drawing up, saying, wow, this seems a lot. It's interesting. You're basically telling people a lot of facts and figures and stories. And then from there, in school back in the day, they don't allow us to be on telly. They don't give us the opportunity for that. We had to complete A-levels to get into school. And I started doing Lama Puat, which was like a 15-minute segment at SLRC. And I was chosen for that based on my voice. And from there, the director had passed on my CV saying there is a small girl would you like to take her to the newsroom? And they were like, yes, we're very welcoming to take a girl that young. And then, you know how when it's first day, when you get an invitation saying, come to the newsroom, you can read the news tonight, you get dressed with the best blazer that you have, the best shoes and all of that, because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be on TV. Not knowing that there is a side of training, that you need a certain amount of training to get on TV. And then I just walk there first time for the newsroom, and it was always a rush, always people running about, trying to build the story, trying to share what's happening. And then from there, my director, Mr. Sanjeeva Batuwata, comes and gives me a set of scripts saying, go and dub this. And then I'm like, okay, but it's only another hour more to read on cam. And then he was like, no, you are going to do this for the next 3 weeks. And then as soon as you progress, that's where you get to be on camera. And, my moment there was like shattered. It was like, oh no, I'm not going to be on camera today. And because, when you tell your parents it's the first time that you're going to be on camera, your parents tend to tell all the relatives saying, oh, she's going to be on camera, da, da, da. Yeah, mini excitement gone down the drain. But I started doing the dubbing scripts. That's where you tend to understand what it's like, because there are three parts when you read a new script. A, you got to understand what you are reading. What's the story about? Who's the type of audiences that you're trying to reach out to? Your reading number two of the same script, you got to correct your grammatical areas, your spellings, your pronunciation, your pauses, all of that in number two. That's reading the same script for the second time. And third time, when you read the same script, is where you glide your little story to see how does it work in the entire area. Now, you don't have time when it's like an on-the-spot progress when you read and when you have to deliver it. But at the same time, these dubbing scripts gives you the opportunity to understand what's happening in the industry and how the story evolves, and it helps you build your vocals to a state. For example, the way you read your sports news item, the way you read it to a normal international story, to your local story, the vocal variation has to be there. You cannot keep a straight face. And back in the day, it was just about reading news with that eloquency and delivering the story. Now you have to relate the story to your audience. It can be sentimental, it can be emotional. Sometimes you have to keep a straight face. Sometimes I tend to laugh at what I'm reading as well. And you have your little ups and downs, but you got to give it out, and that's how you blend in your audiences, because now it's more towards a mixed blend of technology. So with my dubbing skills, I did not have butterflies. I did not have fear in front of the first time in camera, shivering or nothing at that sort, because from the 3 weeks that I completed my dubbing scripts, my producer put me on to sports news just to read 2 scripts for, I think I did it for 2 months, and dedicated myself every day being there, whether it's Christmas or New Year, we were just there reading the new scripts. And then you get that opportunity to witness how your veterans are reading, and you learn your little tidbits, not to copy, but to articulate, and you learn your little style, and you come up with your own style and deliver it. And if there'll be an audience who likes it, there'll be an audience who hates it. If it works best for you, it's good for everyone. I hope that I'm sorry I took so much of time for the first question itself.
No, I think that answer is really inspiring. And looking back at your childhood, I'm sure when you recollect the memories, they mean so much to you. And of course, we as public speakers who want to be the young generation who want to be public speakers, maybe news readers or journalists, I think that tells a lot to us. So thank you so much for that for bringing out those inspiring memories. Of course, you are such a motivation to us. So Sharon, with that, now I'm going to move on to another question, I think, which you can answer as a very strong personality who is looked up to mostly by girls of Sri Lanka. So of course, gender discrimination has become prevalent in the society. It has been there up to now, and it is still there in the society. So it's a sad truth, unfortunately. And so as a woman working in the media and entertainment industry, what are the situations wherein you have had to cope up with gender discrimination, where you have experienced gender discrimination, and how have you managed to overcome those situations? If you can enlighten us on that.
I'm going to be a little diplomatic here, and I'm going to be a little transparent in what I'm about to share. No matter what industry, whether it's media, whether it's business, I mean, I've been in a blend of everything here and there. This capilla or, undercutting, it happens wherever you go. It's there even in the entertainment industry, or even for those who are very interested in acting, teledramas, all of that. So leaving aside that, if you particularly focus on the media industry, we can see that the males are dominating, and that's without a doubt. Look at our parliament for the moment, or the government, as to what's happening, right? I mean, no offense, but It is a dominated industry, and we are the souls who are thriving ourselves, trying to blend in, supporting, because there are men who are supporting women to get into the industry as well. Now, if you take comparing, there are days where you have to be silent in how you manage the situation, and there are days where you need to be smart, and there are days where you have to play it dumb. You just, this is zone out, switch off. So, for example, there are situations when I have to host an event, they will say, let the male run the show, you stand there like a Barbie doll. And then you feel like, oh, what? Is my voice bad? Am I not good at my emceeing skills? No, 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 no. Let the singular guy do his thing. You be silent. You just do your thing and you just walk out. But hey, I can't just be there in front of an audience, and the audience will think like, she doesn't talk, she doesn't say much, because I have to follow what the client says end of the day, and you cannot dominate because you're this couple. Most of the time when it comes to a comparing job, you are sharing the stage with a male, and it can be singular, it can be Tamil, it can be English and English. And then there is this unpleasant competition that's created all the time, saying, I want to be better than that person. That's not how it should be. It should be a collateral blend where you gel together and then you share with each other. You have a little bit of fun, you cheer with the crowd. If you find that your male vocal, or not yours, your partner's male vocal is somewhat, the variance or the octaves can be somewhat higher, you have to manage or balance it to that. If not, just imagine two different pitches and it won't sound right. So things like that has to be in place where you have to know how to figure it out. And if you feel like your partner is extremely loud, screeching to the mic, you know how certain MCs, or there can be males or females, anyone for that matter, can be screaming to the mic. It can be a concert, it can be whatever the event that it is. You can tell him slowly, hey, I can't reach my pitching levels to that, because it's ugly if your pitching levels are not on the same page. One person can be hyperactive, other person can be low. So if you are looking at that point, it's that. But if you are looking at the aspect as a woman, how you want to make it to the industry, it's a choice. If you are a full-time journalist, you really have to brave yourself, because you're not just facing in front of the camera trying to voice out the concerns of what's happening in the country. You are representing yourself, you're putting your family in jeopardy, you're putting your life in threat. All of this is important. So it's a choice whether you want to face all of that, fight all of it. We're not telling, oh, it's scary, don't get into the industry. No, it's not just that. It is a fabulous industry to be in, because you're learning so much, you're mixing with people, you're meeting people with all walks of life, and you have this fantastic opportunity to stay updated. I mean, every time when you wake up, you're glued on your phone wondering what's happening around the world. What's the latest that's taken place? I mean, it's in our blood, because you tend to love what you do. But at the same time, if you want to sort of be out there as a woman, you've got to do it in subtle way and make it to the industry. You can't just take a step back thinking, oh, I'm a girl, I can't do this. No, that's not going to work. For those who know my story, most of them know that I was not paid at Sri Lanka Refining Corporation for about 3 years. And there was a lot of undercutting. There was a lot of pressure. And then from there, one of the other producers gave me the opportunity to host another show. And that was the music show called iTunes Chart Show. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not seen it. And then I started doing another show called iShuffle. So while doing this, the producers from the other departments started saying, this girl is so talented, she's so good, why isn't she reading the news? Why isn't she on the main desk? That's where you have your little opportunity to get on the spotlight. You've got to do it in a subtle way, no undercutting, no favoration, no chasing after ministers, no running after people who have the biggest contacts. It's just you and your talent. And there will be a day that you will get your opportunity out there. So gender discrimination can happen to a male, can happen to a female. As a female, we have more opportunities out there because there are only very few female journalists in this industry. There are very few MCs in our industry. Males, there is a lot. So your battle out there to thrive yourself, it's only with your voice that you can make a difference. And the points and the essence of the stories that you share should reach out the audience. It's not like reading a book for hours and hours and presenting yourself. No, people want to come to an event, short and sweet, pat, and go off script and just talk. That's what people want. And then finish the event fast. And if something goes wrong, you have to know how to tackle it. You have to know your situation. You have to know or identify whether this audience is a serious audience or very boring audience, because you're meeting different types of people. You're looking at a person who is going to sit there for 3 hours like this. One entertainment item is enough. Everyone is just going to pull their phones out. And then you're going to look at, oh, wow, how do I keep them entertained? What am I going to do? So that's how it is. So my point is that, in all fairness, just don't go to see, oh, I'm a woman, oh, I'm a man, I can't do this. No, there is something like that you need to thrive and balance yourself in the industry. But it's a point of never give up. If I can do it, I'm sure anybody else out there can do it. Yeah.
Thank you, Sharon. I think that's such an insightful perspective that you are leaving with us, because at a time that everyone tends to complain about the ongoing gender discrimination, and while everyone is sort of trying to step back and be in their comfort zone, the message that you're giving to us is really tremendous, and it's really valuable, because we need to take up opportunities. We need to have our courage and be brave to take up opportunities, and to, as you said very correctly, never give up. And if you can do that, I think that will definitely promise you a future, depending on how hard you work and how brave you are to be adaptable and to overcome the setbacks that you face in life. So I think that's really important. The message is really important to all the girls, and not only the girls, and everyone who's listening, joining in this show. I think so that's really important. Thank you so much for that insight. So moving on, next up is another question that most of our viewers have wanted to know from you. So of course, when it comes to this industry, it's imperative to be professional and handle everything with professionalism and a good work ethic. So as in the media industry, while you work, you have a very busy schedule, and even then, you have to manage everything, and the work-life balance is important, and you have to be professional. You have to work by the work ethic, have a good work ethic to strive in this industry. So we want to hear from you. How do you maintain your professionalism and have a good work ethic while you're hosting and presenting in front of the camera? Do you have any tips for the audience to improve their professionalism and have good work ethic?
I think it's a power of balance, and to identify your little SWOT analysis for yourself. Because when you start straight from school, you got to map your life out. What am I going to do for the first 5 years? What am I going to do for the next 5 years and 15 and beyond? All of us have little goals of dreaming of investing in our car, investing in our bike, investing in a house. And apart from that, to have maybe a salary component of wherever we're going to be. I'm sure you're aware, journalism doesn't pay you big prices, but there are perks to go abroad, perks to cover international stories. It depends on how it is, because we're talking of a big industry here of cameras, people who are producers and all of that. But journalism is a very tough industry, which involves a lot of your passion and your commitment. So in terms of tips, again, if you are to be a journalist, start from scratch, start early, because when you come to 35, trust me, it's a lot to do with balance. You need to balance. I think the only regret I have is the fact that I'm not married yet, and not having a relationship. That's the only downside, because I was focusing on my goals of how to do this, how to achieve, how to get that, how to get this. And I have no regrets of being single right now, because I've been enjoying the best of my life. But if you are a journalist, and if you're someday going to be a journalist, my only wish is that you follow the right thing without doing what your TV station or what another TV station could do. Because today it's all about ratings. It's about ratings and delivering the story, and also it's like an emotion drama that's driven, that what people say. If we are to change the culture here, we have to start with the point of story. What's the verification behind it? What's the objectivity? How am I going to gather my sources and information to my audience? How am I going to do with it? With all of that, what's the originality of the story? Take a WhatsApp group now. Do people even check or verify where does this info come? Who shared it? No. We just, oh, we got a story. Oh, repost, share. Ta, 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 ta. Nobody sees where the content can affect another person. If somebody has died in a full queue, you know that this is going to go viral, and that family is going to be totally devastated by looking at that story. So it hurts, right? When you see your own family in a picture and then it's been circled viral, that's not right. Yes, you're producing good content. So countries like Korea, South Korea, and Japan and China are very careful when they have to show images of women in their story. They make sure that these are covered. So we're not saying that we need to move into that in a fast pace, because people need to know what's the reality of it. But as a profession journalist, you need to see if it's a story, those three main points that I spoke about: verification, originality, and objectivity of a story. And then you look at the completeness as well as the transparency of your story. How much are you going to relate it? How sensitive is it? If I'm speaking to a Colombo audience, we're tough, we're cool, we're chip, we're happening, we go with anything. We're ready to get into a train, we're ready to get in a bus, we're ready to cycle, we're all cool. But people from the outskirts are living a different mentality there. They're more into the wild. They have a mix and blend. They're not really driven with this whole transportation issues that we are really facing, because it's something that we are going on. And then you have to see the fairness, the restraint, the humanity, the accountability, and how every story can empower someone. That's the message that you have to give at the end of the day. It's not bringing down people. It's always about empowering and inspiring someone in the message that you're delivering. But here, when you chase after ratings, when you chase after numbers, it just goes down. So same thing, even at an event. You need to identify your different audiences. There can be the factory staff, there can be the senior level, and there can be the CEOs. Constant time people come and tell us, is it all right if I speak in Sinhala? Ape CEO look English vachana dala kiya CEO anaga. And you're like wondering, okay, I understand the client's viewpoint. And then you use all these big words I don't think the CEO even understands. It's like opening a dictionary. And then the factory audience who is there amongst your audience is like, because when you use your language, you have to relate it to your audience so that they understand. And you've got to bring in that blend and conversation. It depends totally on the client. Some clients will be very specific, saying, no jokes, no cuts, but, we want it fast. There are clients who will say, take your time, speak to the audience, and drag. So it all depends on the client's needs, but you as an MC need to be smart in the way you deliver to your audience. So you got to figure it out. You got to understand it counts a lot of experience. And when you start, don't think you know it all. Because that's the sad side that I see through a lot of youngsters today. While you are very energetic, very positive, very determined, it's sad that I know it all and I can make it happen. It's good to have that attitude, but you need to balance it with a little of how do you manage the situation. Yeah.
Yes, Sharon, I think understanding the audience is the key, and especially for the youngsters who want to be public speakers or journalists or news anchors, whoever they want to be, understanding the audience and delivering the right thing at the right time is really important, as you said. And of course, as you said, I think everyone should step into the industry with this intention to gain more growth and strive for excellence day by day and achieve more growth and develop themselves. So I think that attitude is really important if if somebody wants to become an expert in any industry. So I think that's a very valuable tip that our audience gets to hear from you. And next up, my question is with regards to the transformation that has happened in the industry. Couple of decades before, we did not have this digital technology in the industry, and now everything with the advent of the internet and digitalization, everything has transformed drastically, and now we are in a digital age. So as a person who has been there in the industry for a long time, how did you witness this transformation in the media field while the digitalization was happening and while we got into the digital age? And what were the changes that you experienced during this transformation? What did you witness?
So I worked with a lot of veterans in the industry, people like Faisal Banso, Clifford Richards, Commander Silva, and I used to watch them and I used to see how do they do their little marketing when it comes to profiling themselves, branding you, and also getting out there to the industry. When I started, I left school in 2006. I'm not that old, okay? And it was a lot to do with, I was not a bookworm, I must admit that. I was more of a workaholic, doing 2-3 different jobs just to get myself into the industry. And then when I was following marketing is when I realized, now I think I should have a qualification because it really blends in if you really need to grow. And that's where you have that little point of a mix and matching whatever you do. So you need your education while you are following work. Now, to answer your question, so when I started in the industry was the birth of Facebook. And that's when, we started posting everything, going out with friends, what we ate, what we do, all of this was updated. As time progresses, your audience tends to become large. And then you have a mixed set of people with a lot of criticisms. So winning 1 award, 2 award, 3 award, 5 awards, and then comes more criticisms, more hate from the audience, which kind of, it brings you down, but at the same time, it kind of evolves you to pick and choose on what you are posting. So when it came to an opportunity like social media, it's the best place when you have to communicate to your audience. And if you can empower and inspire someone, I know I keep repeating the same word, that's where you're going to make someone feel better, because you don't want to bring another person down. Just imagine you're yawning next to a person, that person is also definitely going to keep yawning. So that energy level just brings down of a person. Every time when someone comes for a chat with you, how do I improve myself? Oh, I have sent my CVs. I want to join the television industry. I want to be an announcer in Sinhala. And then I'm asking, where did you send? Oh, no, there was no job application. So I'm waiting until the application is called. I'm like, no, send it. Send it. Just send your CVs all around. Send it with a clip of how you are delivering your news. Don't go to wait for that opportunity or waiting till that advertisement is shown. Because if they see you with your potential, with your talent, with your voice, you think they're not going to call? They'll be like, wow, a face that needs to be on TV. That's how they grab attention. So you got to give it in such a way that you deliver it. And then when it's your social media, you got to see what needs to be put in there. So this evolvement will continue only for a certain time. I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but there are ways that you can educate someone on TikTok. That's how platforms are created. So you got to pick and choose your little battles, and it all comes down to a choice. How do you want to get yourself involved? Are you going to be on social media just for your work, or is it about your personal life? You got to see what really people need. You got to do a blend, and you got to be yourself, and not just about being this chill, crazy person doing all the stuff you need. You got to maintain that little professionalism, because people are going to look up or live up to your expectations with your stories, with what you are delivering. So working with the veterans has given me the opportunity of learning. And then you inculcate that little points of how do you do this. Working with the youngsters brings in a lot of energy, and they share this vibrant knowledge of quick tactics of how to get it done. So you got to mix with these two audiences if you want to continue on your growth. If not, I don't want, their style is not going to working. I don't want, their attitude is not going to work. I will go my way. That doesn't work. You got to blend in with all these audiences if you really need to survive and make it out there.
Yes, Sharon. And with that, I'm going to ask I mean, this could be a tricky question, but maybe you can answer this. So, of course, you're a compier, and at the same time, you are into marketing as well. So, if I am to ask you to choose one, you choose your favorite out of the two, what's it going to be? I don't know if you can answer that. Probably it's a tricky one.
So let me give an answer why. Because marketing helps you learn, and there is a fixed salary that I get. Okay. So emceeing was like my favorite thing, like my hobby, that I love it because it's different people, different audiences. Some of them are jokers, some of them are serious, some of them I come back home and I cry. It's that bad. You get different phases of life. There are struggles, and I'm blessed with awesome parents where I can come and openly tell what happened. And then they are the ones who will be your biggest critic and say, let go, these things happen. And you have to have that circle of friends who are understanding as well, who will be like, get it done, go, get this done. If you don't have that also, if you don't have that push, then it's a little difficult. But at the same time, to pick, ever since COVID, we have been crashed out of the industry. Journalism or the TV industry, unless you're a director and an award-winning producer, you want a good sum. We all need to survive. We all need to live. And if we are to live, we need a sufficient amount of salary that comes into our pocket to live our own lifestyle. Your lifestyle is a choice. Whether you want to drink a plain cup of tea, whether you want to go by train, it's your choice on how you want to do that. But in that choice, you have to have a certain amount of growth. Do you want to continue doing the same thing and staying the same level every day? Or do you want to take a step further and think, how am I going to go on to the next level? That's why I maintain myself staying in the corporate industry, because in case journalism fails, I have something as a backup. So now I'm like eternally grateful for holding on to my job, because it's tiring to balance all. Those days, my roster starts at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm at 5 o'clock at the TV station for my morning show, which starts at 6. It finishes at 8:30. 8:30 to 5, I'm at my office. Sometimes by 4:30, I'm putting on my makeup in office to run to my event, which starts at 6 o'clock. Thank God it's all in Colombo, so I can run about from different places. 6 o'clock, it finishes 8:30. Some days I run to the newsroom after the event, and some days I go home at 10, and then I'm waking up at 4 o'clock again. That's my crazy roster, and I'm tired, I'm exhausted. So it came to a point before COVID that I wanted to quit my job, because it was gaining my pressure, it was gaining my momentum, I was draining in energy. And I thought, no, I can manage with my comparing. But then, thanks to my mother, who kept saying repeatedly, you need your marketing to blend in a different aspect. If not, every day emceeing is going to make you boring. So yeah, held on to it. And also, we never saw COVID coming. We always thought having a fixed salary also would be a beneficial, because nothing can go wrong. Unless you run your own business, then that has its advantages and disadvantages. If it's a restaurant, you'll never run out of that option. But it's all in the choice of how you want to live. It's you, branding you, living the life the way you want based on your choices. And end of the day, all we need is to be happy. We need to have a peaceful death. We need to support our parents if we want to, if we really need to. And that's that little circle that we need to go with. So if you ask me what's my first choice, it'll be emceeing. But given the opportunity now, I'm so grateful I didn't quit my job.
Yes.
Might sound selfish, but
But I think that's a very great backup plan. And of course, with marketing, there's a lot of things. I mean, there are many ways how you can connect with with the audience. And I believe that there are ways you can integrate both of the fields. And of course, if you love what you're doing, you just should keep doing that. So I think that's a great perspective that we're hearing from you. And so I think we've had a number of questions so far. And so to sort of break the ice and sort of get into the game mode, we have an interesting game coming up. So let me tell you what the game is. This is called This or That, just like the question that I just threw you a second ago.
Okay, I thought you were going to ask me trivia questions like, okay, who is the WHO president?
No. So what you have to do is, this is the questions, the options look kind of similar, but yeah, it's gonna be a tricky game because you have to choose your favorite option out of the two, and you cannot take so much of time.
Can I pass?
You can't. No, you can't pass.
Okay, go ahead, shoot. Let's try.
Yes. Okay, so we are starting This or That with Sharon. And so first, underdressed or overdressed?
Overdressed.
Spend the weekend partying or lounging at home?
Lounging at home.
Be invited to the Met Gala or Oscars?
Oscars.
Think with your heart or your mind?
Think with your
Have
mind.
the ability to fly or read another person's mind?
Fly.
Be powerful or be popular?
Powerful.
Most likely to adopt a baby or a puppy?
Puppy.
Who would you choose to be, a villain or a hero?
Hero, always.
If given the chance, you would most likely marry Shah Rukh Khan or Amir Khan?
Amir Khan.
Would you rather go back in time or witness your future?
Witness my future.
Be partners with Harry Potter or Spider-Man?
Oh, that's hard now. Oh no. Oh no. This is actually hard because
You can't say both. You have to pick one.
Oh. Okay, Spider-Man.
Okay. Spend the night inside a haunted house or get stuck in an elevator?
Get stuck in an elevator.
Sweet or spicy?
Oh no, I want both.
Just one. Your favorite?
Okay, that's hard. Because I love my sweets and I love my spice. I'll go with sweets for the moment. Yeah.
Okay. What's more important for a TV presenter, wits or quick reflexes?
Tricky. Again, it depends on the situation. So I suppose it will be the second one. That's
okay.
Quick reflexes,
Reflexes.
Right?
Yes. All right. So we're wrapping up.
Not too bad. Yeah. I was like under pressure. I was thinking, oh my God, what will these guys ask me?
But you were great. And yeah, so we got to know more about you as well. So that's amazing. And we had so much of fun. Thank you so much for joining the fun and being a part of the game as well. So next up, let's get to the next question.
Yeah.
So apart from being a star entertainer and a host, you're also an accomplished public speaker. So how has public speaking affected your career and the success of it? If you can give your insights on public speaking and how it has transformed you.
Public speaking naturally drives when you have that eloquency, when you speak to your audiences and when you get over the fear and the butterflies of communication. But I have had my ups and downs too, especially emotionally losing my dad. It came through, losing my boyfriend too. We all go through these cycles in life, the struggles. And that's where your energy level kind of comes down. And unless you're strong and you're focused thinking, my event is my event, my client is important to me. And that's where projections, your vocals, your storytelling, all of this has to be continued. But see, we're all enjoying life here and we have our little moments on stage. So if we have to overcome any situation, we have to work on it. We have to work on our little background. Now, when I got COVID, when I was diagnosed with COVID, I lost my vocals. And every time I couldn't recognize that I've lost my vocals. Every time I started doing an event, the client would come and tell me, hey, you sound a little bit like a parrot. You don't have that strong, powerful voice. And I went back and I started rewinding and watching the videos, and I was wondering, only one client who said, so it's okay. Then I heard it for the second time by another client. And that's where I thought something's really wrong. And I started paying attention to what happened to my vocal. There was a nasal imbalance in my vocal. Then I started going for voice training. I went for voice training, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, because that's where your vocal octaves tend to improve and you need to have your voice variation. And until that is balanced, it's going to be very uncomfortable, because when you get COVID, your lungs get shrunk. And for you to come back to that, your vocals needs to be expanded. The larynx have to get expanded. And if you don't go into the in-depth of studying it, you can ruin your vocals as well. So thanks to the people who told me that there is a slight bit of an issue like this, maybe you should check, I took that interest of learning. Same way, when I lost my dad, I didn't have the energy that I used to have to get on stage. Not that I was weak. I can get on stage, I can compare, I can do all of that. But inside your mind, you're mentally like, you lost the person whom you love most. And you know, it's a part of family. And then you're like wondering, how do you battle it out? How do you deliver a story? There are, even during the Easter attacks, to read a news item, in your mind, you have this, oh, I lost my friend who was a part of the bomb. And then here you are reading the story. How can you read it? Emotionally, even when Sunil Pereira died, you can hear the jitters in my voice that I can't bring out the story. But you have to be confident in the way you are delivering. So in comparing or in delivering public speaking, you got to know your audience. You got to understand the level of education. You got to be emotionally receptive to your audience. You got to see their cultural backgrounds and try to understand where these people are from. And you have to provide for their psychological needs. So no matter how much you paint word pictures, or you express your emotions and illustrate or prove a point, you got to deliver your story in a nice, simple way. Keep it simple. That's how important it is. But you got to respect people in how they are. So most of the time, a lot of people don't listen. They don't pay attention. And when you are a public speaker, use it in front of the mirror to deliver your story. Practice yourself. See whether your smiles are nice. See whether your opening intros are nice, whether it's okay, whether it's working, how you can grab the attention of your audience. And you need to identify whether this is sophisticated, are they okay, are they understanding, build rapport, connect with your audience, and relate. And at the same time, you have to have your projection, your articulation, your pitch, your vocal variation, all of this have to come into play. So it's not just about, I'm going standing there giving a talk. No, it's not that. It's all about a balance and being that real human who you are. You need to be sincere and first get into your subject, then get the subject to yourself and make sure that you deliver it from your heart to your audience when you are a public speaker. And then whenever you talk, you have to have that little eye contact also, and then you practice in what you are delivering. So it's a lot to do with how you blend all of these areas in what you provide as a public speaker. It's not easy. If you are struggling in your communication, find a circle of friends who speaks in English and stay with them. Or if it's a circle of single friends, I'm not telling you to leave your friends and go. No, I'm telling you how to improve. Tell them, if we are to improve in English, you speak in Sinhala, I will speak in Sinhala. If I will speak in English, you will speak in English. That's how you improve. And if you feel like you want to get out of this fear of standing and announcing, I need to be confident, get into theater, get into drama, because that helps your little body actions, your standing, your posture, your vocal variations. because it's a lot to do with body balance and, mind ethics and coming out with ideas. Get into a sport, do something that you love, watch a sport, read books if you really have to. Not everyone loves reading books. I read very vocal variation kind of books just to understand what kind of voices, how do we maintain our voice, how do we balance it, and if it's emceeing skills, how do we improve it. I keep reading on those just to see how well it is continued. So it's a total mix of how you want to be a public speaker and how you can improve. And your mirror is your best friend. That's where you make use of what you do. Or use a simple phone, use the camera and record yourself and see how best you can improve in what you are doing. It's not easy to be a public speaker, but you can be a public speaker. You can be a musician. You can be an artist. It's nothing about, oh, it's very hard. But let's say there are newsreaders out there who have tried all their levels for about 9 to 10 years, and you can still see that they are not growing. If it comes to a point like that, look at an avenue where you can really grow. Don't let go because this is your passion, but you need to see how you can improve it, because I see certain newsreaders who are really, really, really trying hard, but they are not reaching that mark. Then there is something wrong. Either the way you're learning is wrong, or you have to change the way you're learning. Positives, negatives, up to you, how you want to take it.
Thank you, Sharon. And of course, effective conveyal of thoughts and emotions is an important part of public speaking as well. How does this make someone a better public speaker, according to your opinion?
Practice. 90% practice and a lot of homework and a lot of research. It's like if you're going to host an event, sometimes you will witness like the chief guest is an international speaker. And let's say you have been given a bio of that person to read. Now, don't just read it because you have been given a script to read. If you have the opportunity to speak to that chief guest before the event starts, you can ask that person, what's your hobby? Allow me to introduce myself. Am I pronouncing your name right? Can I correct this before I start the event? That's how you build your conversation before you start. Or research them on Facebook. They put family pictures, they put their favorite coffee, they enjoy doing their raga. Stalk them a little, but don't go on to the bad side of their stalking. If they're enjoying their little golf or something like that, you'll read that entire bio and say he's a Harvard University candidate studying for his PhD, blah, 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 blah. And he's interested in golf. That puts a spot to the guest thinking, wow, this person has done their homework. There are guests who will love it. There are guests who will hate it. Because there'll be the side saying, where did they get to know whether I'm playing golf or not? She shouldn't have mentioned that. So you need to be smart in the way you put it, in the way you deliver it, and also you have to be tactful in how you do it. But 90% of the time when you do something different off the script, the guest loves it. And the guest will, not just the guest, even the audience is like, audience doesn't no, because they haven't run through the script, only organizers have gone through it. So you have to see how you can step up and be a little different in finding their research of, different areas of being out there, somewhat different. So they have to be different, bring a change, and also practice. That's how you kind of blend that little bar on maintaining it.
Also, Sharon, body language and vocal variations are what captivates an audience to the speaker. So what are your tips and tricks to master body language and proper vocal variations?
This is based on my experience of witnessing people. If it's a TV show, if it's a political related show, yes, use your hands, use your gestures, fight if you want to, because it is a debate and you have a producer yelling at the back saying, and you have all of these arguments that's going in the back of your ears. And then there is like, not enough reach, not enough power, not enough punch. Of course, they're the ones who are there to encourage you and that pressure is there. But you are doing a morning show A morning show is for an audience that pours their cup of coffee, sending their children to school, making sandwiches while watching a show. You don't go to bring it, hey, good morning, welcome to the morning show. You don't bring that kind of essence. You're bringing a soft, subtle vibe, bringing a little energy, making sure their day is nice. Tell them what's the weather like. Tell them whether the school is opening. You are going to have a very positive day. If you don't write your notes, it's okay. Copy from the next child. It's something like that. You need to bring in that little energy. So if it's TV, you need to relate to that audience. News styles have been changing over the past years. We have witnessed it. Different studios bring in a different element. Some people keep their hand like this and read. Some people are very stiff. They don't have hand movement. It depends on the TV station that you're working for. It depends on how you want to elaborate. But if you're a public speaker, it's always best that you keep your hands down or you maintain it depending on the podium. If you're talking to your audience, you can do it, but don't point your finger like this. Don't keep your hands like this. Don't do the rap style if you have to talk about it, because it's unpleasant and sometimes it's very boring on how people deliver. So I used to have this issue where my mother used to point out and say, too much hand gestures when you talk like this, it's like, it shows like I'm not confident. So I'm using my hands just to get over the confidence. And then I was like, no, it's unintentional. When I'm talking, I'm just, using my hands. That's it. But you know how the outside audience looks at it in a very different perspective. So you got to figure out based on your audience how you're going to use your hand gestures and be mindful of what hand you are using wherever it is.
Thank you, Sharon. I think that's great advice to everyone who wants to be better public speakers. Of course, body language and mainly understanding the audience and proper conveyance of emotions is really important for anyone who wants to become, no matter what they want to become, a journalist, a news anchor, or even a public speaker. So with that, we have something interesting coming up, which is another game. Now, I think this is going to be even more interesting than the last one that we had.
Okay.
So you're getting questions that might put you in trouble. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So this game is called Never Have I Ever. You might have played it maybe before as well.
Okay.
So are you ready to play the game?
Yeah, depends on the question. I will pass this one if I'm not.
Okay. So you just have to say if you have done this or not, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's start. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. Never have I played hockey. Never have I ever played hockey from school or from work.
I have never.
Never have I ever gotten lost alone in a foreign country.
I have.
Never have I ever cheated on someone.
Cheated on someone.
Cheated on someone, yes.
Are we talking relationship or school sports?
Anything.
That's a tricky one because relationships I have never. School sports subjects, yeah, I have.
Okay. Never have I ever been on a blind date.
No, I hate blind dates. Sorry.
Smart. Never have I ever used someone else's toothbrush.
I have never.
Never have I ever fallen asleep in public.
I have.
Never have I ever re-gifted a gift.
I have.
Never have I ever gone 24 hours without showering.
I have never.
Never have I ever deleted a post on social media because it did not get enough likes.
No, I have never.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes I keep wondering, okay, why did this happen? But in case the grammar and the spellings or something is bad, then I quickly take it out. Yeah.
Okay. And next up, never have I ever attempted a trendy diet.
I have. None of it.
Vegan. Is it vegan?
No, I just do my own diet and get blasted by my mother. and then none of it works too. So I'm like, no carb, no
Relatable.
sugar always works. Yeah.
Relatable. All right, so that's the end of
I
Never Have I Ever.
know. I was expecting thundering questions.
Yeah, I think you got easier ones this time.
Thank you to the organizers.
We didn't have any questions that you passed, so it's great. I think easy ones.
Yeah.
So that's the end of Never Have I Ever, and we had so much fun in that game. And by, we are coming towards the end of the session interview as well. But before we wrap up, of course, we have one more questions that we'd like to get your advice on. So, of course, the younger generation today have a great deal of talented public speaking enthusiasts, but they have certain challenges. Maybe they have stage fright, maybe they are afraid to take the first step to speak up without hesitation. So, what will be your advice and maybe the message that you want to leave with the audience in order to take up the position, take up more opportunities, and go forward as public speakers? What's your message to the audience?
I have come across through my Instagram account so many candidates, very keen, very energetic, very determined to get into the industry. All have the ability to vocal voice, they all can talk. And the only problem here is that their opportunity to start somewhere is lacking. It's not the fear, it's not the confidence. Yes, if you are a candidate like that, you have problems of fear, confidence, speaking out, vocal variation, all of that. The best suggestion that I would suggest to you is that you go take up those little lessons that I mentioned before: theater, vocal classes, speaking in front of the mirror, elocution classes if you really want to improve yourself. These are the areas that you can improve. But there is this audience who have all of that, the confidence, the motivation. I can do it all, but you don't know where to start. My advice to you is your CV, branding yourself as a person is key. Get it out there. No matter what the script, relate your story, relate your comparing style, put it onto a CD, send it to the stations, send it to advertising agents. If you are very keen on commercial advertising is a brilliant industry that has different vocal variations, and it's a subject for another day. But you got to figure it out how you bring a squeaky voice to a baby voice to a mama voice, how you can blend and mix all these voices. So there are opportunities there as well. But it all got to start by branding yourself and how you want to portray yourself in the industry. You need to be respected, you need to achieve yourself, and you need to grow. So in order to do all of that, you can't expect it all to come in a platter waiting. Is the advertisement out now? Can I join now? Oh, have you got a friend who is related? Do you have a contact who is connected? Forget it. Do it yourself. Chase yourself and get into something if you're really, really determined to do it. And then scope your avenues. Even if someday, if you want to migrate and move about, you got to get ready to rough out and live your little life, because nothing is going to be a bed of roses unless you have a lot of cash coming up from somewhere. So in order to do something, just be yourself. Try to make it happen, and also do something different to the industry where people respect you and where you will respect others, so that we all can live a very happy, joyous life without hate, without bringing down people's morals, without looking at draining. And if you find someone who doesn't have that confidence, you have to be the person who can inspire. And when you go back in the evening, write on your journal of how grateful you are that you had the opportunity to breathe, and that you had the opportunity to make someone smile or bring in that confidence. And that's the best way of living life. And in my case, right now, I'm just trying to balance myself and looking at different opportunities of how you are going to live for the next 5 years. And then maybe that retirement plan, which we need to plan soon. At the rate we are going, how expensive is carrot now? Yeah. So that's my message to you. And yeah, I'd like to wish you all the very best. If you have any concerns, feel free to reach me out on LinkedIn or maybe on Instagram. And thank you to Gavel Club of University of Colombo for having me on your journey hotline. Hot
Thank
Perfect
you.
Hotline.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And it was a very fun and a very interesting interview that we had today. So, and I think the most important, you actually left a lot of great insights with us. But as you said very correctly, try and keep trying hard and never give up. And of course, inspire, be grateful towards everyone. So I think these are really little things that we do not ponder on, but things that can add value and can definitely motivate us and definitely would help us become a better person. So thank you so much for all of those great insights that you left with us. So before wrapping the things up, I really want to extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the Gavel Club of University of Colombo to Sharon Mascarenhas for being a part of our podcast despite your busy schedule. You added so much of glam and color to our session today, and I'm sure it was one of the most memorable interviews that we had. And we wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors and keep inspiring everyone around you with that bright and vibrant personality of yours. Thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you, Teshani, and thank you to everyone at Gavel Club of University of Colombo again. Thank you.
You're welcome, and it's our pleasure. So, well, then it's time to bid each other farewell, and we'll see you next week with another captivating personality of the public speaking industry. Don't forget to drop your comments and suggestions down below in the comments section so that we know who you would like to meet in the upcoming episodes as well. So I'm Teshani once again signing off with the whole crew. Hope you have an enjoyable and a productive week ahead, and see you then, and we'll keep in touch and stay tuned with Journey Hotline. Thank you and have a great day.